Oh, shit. Good morning.
Good morning.
Sorry to keep you waiting. I forgot about the waiting room.
Oh,
I've been here the whole time going, where is everybody? Hi, Corey.
hi, Christine. Good to
I
see you.
better
Thank
pay
you.
attention.
You better pay attention. Paying attention is overrated.
I know. Man, everybody.
Hi, Bev.
Hey, Dawn.
I just texted you, Bev.
Oh, okay. We'll talk after the meeting, hopefully.
Sounds good.
Hey there.
Nice to see you again, Corey.
Oh, thank you. Nice to see you. Hey, our power just flickered here a little bit ago, so I apologize if the winds take me down. So
I know. I came from the Oregon coast, so when they say it's going to be windy and it's not blowing 100 miles an hour here in the valley, I think this isn't a storm.
that's right.
What's the deal? Corey, I'm just making you a co-host, so if you have anything you want to share, you can.
Perfect.
Let's see. Right. Admit.
Tape on them playing.
Hi,
Right.
Josh.
Well, we'll give people a couple minutes and then we'll start if that works for you. And I will try to keep my eye on the waiting room.
All righty.
Like a good hostess with a mostess. I'm excited for this program today. I think we're all wondering, even though the virus is rearing its ugly head still, but we got to think ahead as leaders, right?
That's right.
When we decide it's time, we got to have our act together. I'm not even sure where our club met before is going to be a viable alternative.
Hello, Steve.
So there's that. Let's see here. Oh, admit. They're still straggling. John Zagel's coming in from Newport. I'm keeping my eye on the clock. Don't worry, you guys. I'm not going to waste your time.
You can't waste our time, Christine.
Oh, but I could.
It's always valuable information.
Hi, John Zagel. How's the wind over there?
Hi, hey, it's pretty windy.
I was just telling these guys, Corey, our facilitator, was saying that their power just flickered, and if he gets cut off, forgive him or whatever. And I said, hey, I came from the Oregon coast. If it's not blowing 100 miles an hour, I don't even notice.
Yeah, this is just a gentle wind.
Just a breezy day.
Yeah, just breezy.
Okay. Let's go ahead and get this party started. What do you say? I'm going to take a minute to introduce, in case you didn't read the email. Corey Lopardi is our facilitator and trainer today. He's the District 5020 membership chair and the assistant Rotary coordinator for zones 26 and 27, pretty much the western half of the United States. His goal is to grow Rotary and to whose dog's barking and to strengthen the districts and clubs like ours. And he's perfectly positioned to facilitate this program today because of the topic of hybrid meetings. His business is Party Man Productions. Don't you love the way he used his last name for that? Party Man Production works a lot in the field of video. And in this age of COVID, and maybe into the future, where in-person meetings are difficult and uncomfortable for some, the use of videos in hybrid meetings can help our clubs grow, thrive, endure, maybe even survive at this point. So Corey's going to include some equipment ideas and methods, and we'll have follow-up documentation. Of course, I always record these sessions. So tomorrow I will send out the recording along with any handouts that we have available. So Corey, it's up to you.
All righty. Well, thank you all for allowing me to present today on hybrid meetings. I am Corey Lopardi, Assistant Rotary Coordinator for Zone 27 and past District Membership Chair for District 5020. If for any reason you'd like to contact me with any questions about hybrid meetings or anything about membership or Rotary, you can reach me at pardaman@yahoo.com. So what we're going to cover today is what a hybrid meeting is, some of the technical requirements that I think you should have in order to pull off a really good hybrid meeting, some tips for successful engagement, and then we'll have a Q&A session at the end. So what is a hybrid meeting? Well, this photo is an example of a hybrid meeting. What you have is any club meeting that's held both in person and on Zoom or some other type of conferencing software that's in real time is what we're talking about for a hybrid meeting. So if you've in the past had a meeting and you have done a live stream onto Facebook or YouTube or some other access like that, that's not exactly a hybrid meeting because that doesn't give the participants any way to interact or connect with what's going on in person. So the purpose of the hybrid meeting is to support member retention and engagement. It's really to give people who want the opportunity to meet in person, maybe they just don't like the online experience, or maybe they've been missing, that face-to-face, as well as people who don't feel comfortable or can't safely meet in person to still remain engaged online. And the goal is to really generate an interactive experience for the people, not only the people on Zoom, but also the people that are in person. So what you're going to need in the room when you're holding your in-person meetings is you're going to need one or more laptops, a projector, big screen, TV, probably a projector and a screen, that are going to allow the people that are there on site to see and hear those people that are on Zoom. And then you want to make sure that all of your announcements, any communication can be heard by those on Zoom. So it also needs to take place at the podium and probably through a microphone system. And we'll talk a little bit about that. All your agenda items should involve both in-person and online people for greater engagement. So you don't want to create two classes of people. You don't want to create the in-person people and the people that are at home. And we'll talk a little bit about some of the ways you can still do activities and do them both in person and home. And then it's going to require some setup and someone to oversee the laptops, probably even two people, and your webcam or phone, however you're getting on to Zoom for the meeting. So you're going to want to make sure that you give a little extra time and that you actually have some people assigned to take on that responsibility. Right now, a lot of these meetings just like this are online, and maybe you've got one person that's managing the Zoom. Maybe you just have somebody that logs in and then everybody just kind of free for all as well. To do a good hybrid meeting, you really need to have one or two people that are managing all the audio, visual, and Zoom or whatever other conferencing system you're using. So the people on Zoom are just like us. They're on their home computer or their phone participating. They need to have a webcam so that they can really take full advantage of the hybrid meeting portion. A lot of times, and I see it today, online Zoom meetings, half the people will turn off their camera and just listen. When you're doing a hybrid meeting, if everybody was to take a nap while they were in the in-person meeting, you would feel like maybe they weren't participating. So you really need to encourage everyone in your hybrid meetings to have their cameras on if they're on Zoom so they can fully participate in the process. And then this allows to create real-time interactions. If you want to call on Josh Welch and see what he's drinking there in his coffee cup, you can do that because he's got his camera on and you can see him, and the person from the podium can reach out and interact with him. Now, if he's got his camera off, you can't do that. So the other thing it does require is a paid Zoom account. The free Zoom accounts usually time out in about 40 minutes. They don't give you quite all the functionality, and you want to make sure that you've got a rock solid setup so that the people at home don't miss out on what's going on in person. So some of the technical requirements, and we'll just talk about this photo real quick. So what you're seeing here is the Rotary Club in Minnesota. I don't remember which Rotary Club it is, and they're holding their hybrid meeting. So they've got a person masked up holding a cell phone. That's the in-person Zoom. They've got their presenter talking into a microphone, and as you can see on the big screen, people are zoomed in from home participating in the meeting. And we'll talk more details, but that's basically a fairly basic Zoom setup. So the most simple setup, if you have a small club, is in-person attendees on laptops or cell phones logged into Zoom, and the at-home attendees are also on their cell phones logged into Zoom. This is a little club in District 5020. They have about 13 members, and they had about 4 members in person, all on laptops, and then everybody else was at home. So you can see the most basic setup just uses Zoom or your conferencing, and everybody basically is at home, but you give a few people the opportunity to be in person. In some areas where the restrictions, right now there's actually no, in the state of Washington, no meetings in person from people outside your household. So even this meeting wouldn't be able to be held in hybrid. But as we move forward, smaller clubs can do these types of simple meetings without adding any new technology. But once you get to a little bit bigger club, then you start having a little more of a need for the technology aspect. So what you're going to see is you're going to want to have a projector and screen or an LCD screen so that people in the room see what's going on. This has a cell phone on a stand logged into Zoom, so that becomes your in-person Zoom host. You have a podium mic and a speaker so that not only the people in the room can hear, but those on Zoom can hear. And you want to make sure that everyone either comes up to the microphone to speak, or that your host, your president, and if you're doing Q&A with a live speaker, that live speaker repeats all the questions from the room back to the Zoom audience so that they know what people are saying and they can hear what's going on. And then again, you have your at-home attendees on laptops, desktops, or phones logged into your teleconferencing. And I keep saying Zoom because 90+% of clubs, that's what they're using to do these hybrid meetings. A more advanced setup is like the Rotary One Club of Chicago, our very first Rotary Club in Rotary. They've got, as you can see, a projector and screen. You could also use an LCD screen. They have a video camera on a tripod, which is attached to a laptop that's logged into Zoom, so that's given the video feed. They have additional laptop that's running their PowerPoint. They do have an audio mixer so that the audio from the microphone on the podium goes into that Zoom laptop, and the Zoom attendees can hear it at a good level. They also have a video mixer, which is optional, but this allows them to change between the camera and a video or PowerPoint. It gives them a lot more ease of selecting what they show on the screen and to their Zoom viewers. And then the at-home attendees are again on their laptops, phones, logged into Zoom. There's also an option for an office setup. Now, if your club owns its own building, maybe it has a space in that building, or if a member of a club has a big office conference room that has the ability to set up or is already set up, they have what's called a Zoom room camera. That camera is logged into Zoom, and people interact just like they would if they were on their laptop, only the ease of use, the camera typically tracks the speaker, and all the audio runs through that Zoom room camera. And so in some ways that takes down the need for that extra technology person, but it is an extra cost, and it does require a little bit of hardwiring to Ethernet and things like that. So that is definitely an option for a smaller club or a club that owns their own meeting space, which I don't know if you have any in your district, but in our district we have a couple of clubs that have built buildings or purchased buildings, and so this is an option that they could do. Okay. So let's talk about some tips for successful engagement. Now, this is the Rotary Club of Oak Bay up in Canada, and I think at 3 o'clock today they're doing their 3rd hybrid meeting. So this is from like their 1st or 2nd hybrid meeting, this photo here, and they just this morning finally sent me some notes on what they are doing for their hybrid meetings. So I'm going to try to pull those up if I can find them again, and see if I can't read off those. Here they are. Because I was curious what they were doing and how they were running those meetings. So they have a maximum of 20 members per meeting, which is mandated by the hotel that they meet in. And as you can see, they're doing a large amount of social distancing. They have a minimum number of meals, so the meal part is a requirement. So they don't even schedule the in-person meeting unless they get a confirmation of having enough in-person meetings to make that financially viable for them. Members have to register and pay no later than the Friday before the Tuesday meeting, so they're doing advanced pay online for the meals. It's a classroom style setting. There's no mixing and mingling per their local COVID restrictions, and they have they sent me a form. They have to go through a complete system check form upon arrival at the theater. Then they are all given hand sanitizer and allowed in the meeting room. They're required to wear masks until they get their lunch, what they eat, and then they have to put their masks back on. All in all, they're really concerned about the safety and health of their members, so there's no singing, there's no passing of items, there's no handshakes or hugs. They're curious to see how this is going to continue going forward, but that's how they're handling the in-person. And you can see they have, because of their facility, all the same setups. They have people on the big screen logged in from Zoom. They have a projector and a screen. They use an in-room microphone, and they have somebody at the back of the room on a Zoom laptop that is getting all that audio fed to them. So some of the tips for good hybrid meetings are to make sure you send out your calendar at least a week in advance, that people can schedule and also know whether they've decided to meet in person or stay on Zoom. You want to connect in advance, and this goes whether you're having an online meeting or a hybrid meeting, to make sure that those people that need to log in from Zoom, if they have any challenges, that you've already dealt with that and helped them out so they aren't struggling the day of your meetings. You want to send out your agenda at least 3 days in advance. And again, you want an agenda that allows both in-person and online meeting people to participate. And then make sure your setup is ready and you test it well in advance so that when you get to that first hybrid meeting, you don't have a lot of snags. So I suggest doing a mock hybrid meeting, maybe with a few board members, so that you know that you're ready to roll and you're putting on a good show when you do your first hybrid meeting. So tips to think of during the hybrid meetings: you want to make a conscious effort to keep those online participants involved. If Meme 10 Hold would know that all of these slides are going to go ahead and be sent out to you when they get sent out, so you don't have to take screenshots if you don't want to. You know, do things like that. Just chime in with people, make sure that somebody is connected and monitoring the people that are hanging out on Zoom. People in person need to make sure that they speak directly into the mic and that they continue to use that microphone. Even if they're like, oh, I've got a loud voice, I don't need a microphone. Well, the people on Zoom need you to use that microphone, because I don't care how loud your voice is, they aren't going to hear it at home unless it's going into the laptop that's connected to Zoom. You want to place your phone and camera in a location where the entire room of in-person attendees can be seen, or go mobile with your camera. It's really important that the at-home viewers don't feel like they're missing out on something that's going on in the room, that they're missing seeing a certain person. They want to feel like they're just as fully involved as those people in the room. And keep your presentations shorter than you might have normally done. 20 minutes max. Have the speaker come on earlier in the program, especially if they're online speakers, because a lot of times they're jumping from Zoom call to Zoom call, and if you make them wait through all of your club business, it's a little bit of inconsiderate to them. Try to bring them on early, but also make sure you pare down their presentation, because people who are attending online are going to get a little more antsy than people that are sitting in the room. So you want to keep them to short, effective speakers if you're having in-person speakers. Make sure your meeting space has strong Wi-Fi or dedicated Ethernet connection. This is one of the keys to pulling off a good hybrid meeting, is that you've got a good, strong connection, because if that connection goes out, everybody at home loses out on the experience. You'll want someone at the meeting to act as your virtual host. They want to be monitoring the attendees that are online, making sure to mute people that forget to mute themselves, making sure to look for raised hands, whether it's in person, or, you know, it's physical hand or a digital hand. And that can't be done by the person who's, you know, the president or whoever's running the meeting from the podium. That needs to be done from a separate tech person who's actually actively watching, just as you would on any old online meeting. Make sure that all the COVID-19 safety measures are in place for your in-person meetings, and that changes from location to location, but it is always something that as Rotary, we want to make sure that we're following the local guidelines. And you want to make sure that you consider meeting activities and elements that work for hybrid meetings and those that work best in person, so that you're not doing an activity that only the people that are there are really going to appreciate. Or let's say you wanted to do some sort of service project. Is there a way you can do that service project where it's a small service project that you can drop off the materials to somebody's house as well as have them in person? So if you're stuffing food bags, then everybody stuffing 10 food bags should have a cardboard box that arrives on their door with their 10 food bags and all the food to bag them. And they can participate at home just like the people are in person doing those food bags, and then somebody goes around and collects them. That's a service project that you can do in a hybrid sort of style. And you can treat it in the same way you might do like an online cooking show, where somebody in person is doing the setup and explaining it, and the person at home is following along and being engaged in the task. So that's pretty much all I have. We're at the question and answer period now. I see it says Meme 10 Old. Or is it Mimi?
It's Mimi. Thank
okay.
you, Corey. Great information. One of the problems we seem to be having, and I'm a Zoomer because of high risk, is hearing the members in the room with what they're saying. And you probably already addressed this, but I'm not sure how you can do that. I know you said that a speaker should repeat the question when asked so that the Zoomers can hear it. And that makes sense, but what about it for the interaction of the members?
Yeah, so one of the ways to do a better job of that is having a mobile camera system that you use, and you go around and actually go up and put that person directly on the camera. And so I will be sending out some technical specs that talk about camera stands and cell phone holders and things like that. If you're using a cell phone for your Zoom camera, then you can actually have that on a stand, and the person who's in charge of that can take that right up to the person asking the question, maintain social distancing, and the Zoom attendees can hear. The other is involving a wireless microphone system, or just making sure that the people that ask questions come up to some sort of fixed mic. You know, in the way that you would do it in a panel situation, a live event, where you set a question mic and people go up to that mic and they ask their questions from there, then all the people online can hear. It does require some extra technical steps, but it's not super complicated.
Thank you.
Any other questions? I see Marv has a question.
Yeah, actually I have 4. I'll give them to you all at one time and you can answer them because it might be easier. Initially, you indicated a 20% discount for Zoom meeting for Rotarians. That's question
Correct.
1.
Can I put that in the chat?
Say again?
I said I put that information in the chat.
Okay, great. See that. Is it necessary for in-person individuals to have laptops or cell phones to log on to Zoom, or do they? Because I noticed in the smaller group, everybody had laptops, but in the larger school school seating setting, they didn't. So is it necessary or not?
In the larger settings, it isn't necessary because you're setting up the AV to take care of all of that. In the smaller setup, it's if your club is very small, say less than 15 members, and that you don't want to spend any money or you don't want to take the time to go to an actual venue, you can do everything via laptop. But in your larger settings, the in-person people do not have to have laptops. Now, one thing I have heard is there are some clubs that are holding one meeting a month where they do hybrid. They dedicate the whole meeting to committee work. So each of the committees split off, and if that was the case, then they typically encourage people to bring a laptop or a device and split up into small pods in the big room so that they can meet privately with their committee. That's one of their ways they're taking the time that people are having to take to do Rotary off the club. Because they're not having as many dynamic speakers, they're not having as many people meeting in person, then they're using that one meeting a month to actually do their committee work via Zoom, and they do it through breakout rooms. But that does require the people in person to bring a device. Otherwise, if you've got that classroom style, the people don't have to have devices.
Thank you. We're a medium-sized club that actually has an LCD screen in our area, and we typically hook that up to computers when we have speakers coming in. So that being said, can we do this less expensively? Because that was one of the things that you had indicated.
Yeah, so if you connect via HDMI and you run everything through your laptop and you put it up on that LCD screen just becomes the same as your computer monitor at home. And so you can do things without, having to take on a whole lot of the extra cost. The real key is making sure that you've got a camera set up for the Zoom viewers that gives the optimal, when you just set up a laptop with a tiny little laptop camera and you point it towards the people in person, the people at home really don't see what's going on. And so that's why we encourage you to use a cell phone or an extra camera hooked up to a laptop that's hooked up to Zoom, so that the people on Zoom can really feel like they're engaging with the people that are in person.
Okay,
but as far as the LCD screen, that's a perfect option for the people in person to see what's going on.
Last question, and thank you for that. Can a virtual host who's also helping monitor meetings actually be remote?
The virtual host can be remote, but you still need the person in the meeting that's running the software for Zoom so that it gets fed to the Zoom platform.
Thank you.
So,
Can I throw one thing in? The District 5110 has a Zoom account that we can use for Rotary meetings, anything Rotary. I'm going to put in the chat box the login and the password for that account. And with that account, you're not held to 40 minutes. You're not, you're able to have a polling, which is really a nice engaging thing to do, which I'll end this meeting with, is a poll to see what you guys want to talk about next month. And it also allows for breakout rooms, which Corey was just talking about. So I'm going to put all that in the chat box, and I will send it out with the summary tomorrow.
Yeah, and
Christine, I've got a question. Early on, multiple clubs couldn't go on the district website at the same time on the same day. And is that still the case?
Not sure, but it's like for this meeting, I scheduled it out all 12 months, you know, in August. So I found a time slot that I could get it in there. I'm not sure about that, Marv. It might be that there's only one user per time slot.
Yeah, what we've been doing is, since this has gone over for two presidents, each president basically signs up for their Zoom account, and then the club pays for the account, and then we can also do polling and breakout clubs as well. Then we
And
don't
like
have to
Corey
worry
said, there's that discount too. So I just want to give you different ways to handle the Zoom issue beyond just the freebie, which cuts you off at 40 minutes. Although in some things, I think a 40-minute time frame is a good idea. It makes us be efficient.
so I do have a few documents. One is some tips for better interactive meetings. One is an equipment guide, and then just a hybrid meeting overview, as well as the slides from this presentation. I put them in the chat, but it doesn't allow me to do that directly. I think it's because I'm only a co-host, which is fine. But I'll send those out, and Christine will send them to you, so you'll have them the next day or two.
Like I said, I record this and I will send Corey's slideshow. Thank you. I was going to ask you for that. Any documents that you have. And then there is a hybrid meeting document that I found from Rotary International on their blog, and I'll send that out. So if you're not choking with information, just call me and I'll try to find more. Anyone else have a question with something you've tried? I see Swana.
Yeah, just quick question. I don't quite understand, why do we need hybrid means both in person and on Zoom, like the Canadian Rotary Club that you show. I can see in the future, let's say if it's back to normal, we can have regular meeting in a normal setting, and then we can have Zoom combination, because currently, because of the Zoom, I really enjoy other around the country guest speakers, or even overseas, you know. I can see that in the future, but currently I don't understand why we need both. Thank you.
Well, we do have a number of areas. You know, in our zone, we cover 11 different states. So this training is not specific to Oregon. And so in different states, they have lots of different regulations about what people can do in person and what they can do online. And so this hybrid model is something that is being used throughout the country as a way, like I said, for people to meet in person. That's you know, they are going to leave Rotary if they can't meet in person. There is a percentage of people that is their feeling, and so clubs are trying to meet members' needs where that members' need is at. Going forward in Canada, they don't foresee having large group meetings for maybe another year or two, and so they are trying to find ways to keep meetings going where they have small groups, and sometimes they rotate. You know, part of that is rotating who the in-person people are. So if you have a club of well over 100 people and you can only have 10 to 20 people meet in person, you may find that there's a different group that meets in person from week to week, and it's not always the same 20 people. So it keeps members engaged that are challenged or just haven't warmed up to the Zoom experience. We see that it's going to be months, if not years, before across the entirety of North America that large in-person meetings are going to be able to happen. So that's the reason for the hybrid model. It isn't specific to Oregon. So
I have another observation. I know Christina Lunn, last year's president of the Cottage Grove Club, and Heather Tucker's here. She's this year's president. You can correct me if I'm wrong, Heather. But last spring, Heather or Christina was talking about, we're going to have hybrid meetings forever. This is not just a COVID thing. This is something that will go, on because it engages more people than just. I heard one club that had a Zoom meeting and somebody was getting a chemotherapy treatment and attended the meeting via Zoom. That would not have happened without a Zoom meeting. But like Corey said, there's a lot of people that will leave if they don't get that one-to-one experience. So our job as Rotary leaders is to engage people the way they want to be engaged. Heather, do you have anything to add to that?
Well, so we did revert back to strictly Zoom meetings. And, just like everyone else, you have those Rotarians that just refuse to be on the Zoom call, whether it is just a technology issue or it's, hey, I'm in back-to-back Zoom meetings, I'm Zoomed out. We get a lot of that from Rotarians as well. So this is, we had talked about doing hybrid back right when we changed presidents, when I came on board, but everything was so much in the air, with, hey, we're back on lockdown, back and forth. And so we just went strictly to Zoom, and we polled our club, and the club was literally split on who wanted to meet in person and who did not. So we just continued with Zoom meetings and figuring out the next steps.
Thank you.
like Jerry has a question?
Right. Actually, I'm just kind of tagging on to that the fact that Zoom is going to continue. I'm president-elect for next year, and I'm thinking that things like committee meetings, especially, would be a lot easier for people if we were using Zoom. Also, I'm trying an experiment on Thursday. I have contacted my it was an exchange student we had from South Africa, and I'm hoping he'll be Zooming in from South Africa with our Zoom meeting on Thursday.
Okay, looks like RT has some comments that they'd like to make.
Oh, hi. Yeah, we're a pretty good sized club. And so, normally we have about 70 people show up at meetings. And it's at Hilton. It's called the Graduate now, but it was a large hotel. We have all the screens, we have all the projectors, we have all the audio gear. And we've had that for quite a while. And when we went Zoom, people loved it. They absolutely loved it, because we've ended up with people that, normally don't meet or bond at a meeting. They're right there. And so they say, oh, can I talk to this one? Can I talk to that one? And then in the chat, they're, sending messages. It's usually filled up each time. So it's really turned into something great. And there's been, it started at least 2 months ago, where members were asking specifically, says, can we continue this? Because, we have members that travel, and there they are, they're on the meeting. And we're finding that our presenters, it's almost a 100-year-old club. So we've had presenters that have always been pretty top-notch, governors and, you know, whatever it is. But now it's even better because we've gotten presenters who just say, oh, 20 minutes, I don't have to drive, I don't have to do this, I don't have to do that. It's just absolutely been amazing. And so, you know, our meetings have just absolutely amped up. And I do the bulletin too. And so, you know, we've been, you know, kind of pumping everything up. And people are just going, I got to go to one of these. Oh, yeah, that one's going to be a good one. Oh, that's going to be here. That's going to be there. And, you know, it's just been a great connection. You know, we had the police chief for the city call from his car. You know, it's like everything but the red lights. And it was just, you know, absolutely fantastic. So we have a few members who are just saying, well, I don't even do computers. And, you know, it's unfortunate, but we have a very dynamic group of people that's spread across all age. I mean, this is not just a young thing. We're finding everybody absolutely love it. It is, and at this point is demanding to have this as a part of regular meetings if and when we go back to them, which is pretty cool. And we have, you know, gone through, I'm an old TV art director in LA. So we have made, you know, phones and, you know, all the devices we possibly can, wireless mics, all that. So it's great. And, you know, this stuff is not expensive. It's, you know, once you kind of get into it, it's pretty easy to do. And it's just gotten to be really a lot of fun. And I think they're actually having more fun. And we have a lot of photos. We have, you know, projects that are being done, you know, like the Conestoga huts and so on. And we just go out and film it a little bit, show a few things. And we always have a video. We have entertainment. And it's just not that hard to get entertainment. It's just
So Christine, I think RT is just maybe volunteered himself to be your technical advisor for a committee for your district on how to handle a hybrid meeting.
The district too has been doing really well. Yeah. So, you know, I think that, you know, it's not just our club, it's the district itself. You know, 5110 is pretty savvy to this stuff. And
I was just going to interject that the district has a $500 per club grant available for purchasing equipment you might need for hybrid technology. So in our club, we haven't taken this step to apply for that grant yet because I'm still trying to define where we're going to meet in person now. That's kind of up in the air. And what equipment might be the equipment we need. So in every place it's different. If you're at the Graduate, used to be the Hilton, there's a full sound system, projector, all that equipment is right there. Where we met at the Vets Club, we had all our own equipment. So every club is a little different, but I just want to clue you in that there is a district grant available. Once you decide what you want to spend that $500 on, get a hold of the district grant poobahs, whoever they are. How do I apply for that?
Is that the branding grant, Christine, or is that something?
No, it's a new one for
okay. Because they didn't talk about it at the president's meeting last night. That's funny. Okay.
Joe.
Looks like Joe Vitson.
Yeah, Christine, thank you for mentioning the grant. That's the first as an assistant governor that I have ever heard about this.
Yeah.
So that I assume is a brand new thing, and I certainly have clubs that will be applying. What I wanted to jump on was a comment that someone made earlier about hesitancy on some club members' part about joining in Zoom meetings. And I am strongly encouraging all of my clubs to do as a fellowship project. Reach out, do it formally, have a plan, reach out by phone and contact every single club member and ask them about their Zoom experience and how they might be more engaged or might want changes, but do it without exception. Every single club member. When the Greater Albany Club did this, we discovered many members whose email addresses were not current in DACDB. They were getting no notices about Zoom meetings. They had no idea that we were meeting. Secondly, we uncovered many members of the club, young and old, who are experiencing technical problems that if someone is appointed in that committee to reach out to that person, there has to be a formal plan here. But if the clubs will reach out to that person, you will find, I think, in probably every club, that there are folks that are not either able to connect with Zoom or they're having difficulty with it, whose technical problems can be solved. And have had in the Greater Albany Club 2 or 3 members who are very, very strong attenders. They just could not get their computer equipment to work in Zoom. They had camera issues or microphone issues or whatever. But it takes a purposeful effort to uncover those people.
Looks like Kim Myers has a question.
Yeah, sorry. So I was gonna say that, we have the same issue. We have 100 members, and I feel fortunate to get 35 plus on, and it seems like it's getting better as the word gets out. And the same thing, we've had to, Curtis is on the call. We have board buddies. We call people. Andrea's here. I see. We try to reach out, and we've had some older members who are slowly, starting to come on, and we have others who, I'm trying to work on. Some of them are in assisted living, or we have one member who's in a. So when we visit, we have to go through the fence. So to get the facility to work with them is a little more difficult, but we're still trying to engage that. But I want to say, one thing, the Zoom, it has its pluses and minuses. I mean, I do have some people who just don't like Zoom and won't come on there. But, I follow a sports columnist at the Wall Street Journal, and his email's there. So on a whim, I emailed him, and we had him as a speaker. It was great. We've been doing breakout rooms, and it's like having a table so people can chat. We've used the polling for our foundation board vote. And so, I mean, it's just, you kind of got to just take that step of hesitation and just go for it. And when you mentioned the exchange student, I just got online Instagram and texted Marie from Denmark and said, hey, you want to be it gave me the idea. So I just went ahead and texted her and said, hey, come on, would you like to be a speaker? So, I mean, you just have to, it's where we're at. You kind of have to just embrace it and go forth.
What's the old saying about making lemonade out of lemons?
Yeah.
Some people think, I want to wait until we get back to normal to get back into leadership of Rotary. First of all, we can't wait, and second of all, there is no normal.
This is normal. And even after everything seems more normal, it won't be more normal. Yeah. We can't guarantee anything.
Yeah. Other comments, questions?
Well, there was a when the pandemic really started, there are some articles out of Political magazine that they had one article that was 34 pundits that were talking about what does this all mean, and they talked about that the world would never be the same ever. After this pandemic, the world will be different. It will totally be different. And one of the ways it's going to be different is this mass communication. Is that, if you've noticed, if something blows up in Lebanon, a giant explosion, everybody knew about it around the world in moments, not minutes, moments. And that's the way it is. And so we're on this mass communication, and we have to get on board with that. We absolutely have to get on board, because that will be the norm. That will absolutely be the norm. And we have to communicate, and Rotary, always has to be a leader. So Rotary has to be the leader in this kind of stuff. And, so, it's like, get on board, please. And then this idea of, presenters, it's so easy to get presenters, 20 minutes, it's easy. And, start to sell your club with presenters and just say, hey, we got so-and-so on. And we do it all the time. But, we got so-and-so on and they just flock to the meeting going, oh, I could never see this kind of person. And so you just work those two things.
It looks like Mitch has had his hand up for a while, and then I think Jill Tompkins has a question as well. Mitch?
Yes, thank you. It's Mitch from the E-Club State of Jefferson. So we've been meeting by Zoom, by the different programs that have something like Zoom since we started our club around 2016. Our program is basically online on a web page for the weekly meeting, but we do the Zoom meetings monthly for our different committees or our board meeting. We also have monthly a social meeting where people can just come and just interact. Where are you going? Where you been? How's your health? Et cetera, et cetera. And so because we've been meeting online all the time, we also like more of the personal interaction of knowing what the other person is doing. And so that's how we got around to be more personal, is what I just said. That's it.
My Denmark student said yes.
Corey, I'd like to just let everybody know that our current president, Peggy Kaivoff, is now living in New Zealand, and yet she is still our president. We refuse to let her go, and it's absolutely worked beautifully. And without Zoom, obviously, this never would happen. I love RT's attitude about bringing in interesting speakers, and I was wondering if some of you that have had great speakers would possibly email that to Christine, and maybe she could print some of these wonderful speakers for the rest of us to get a hold of and possibly join our meeting as well.
That's already being done. Beth Sheehan at the district level has a speaker bureau, so send her your good speakers, and she's got a whole list of them. So, yep, that's being done.
Wonderful, thank you.
And I think I saw Mimi again had her hand up.
Yes, hi again. I just wanted to say, make a comment that we have lost some members because of the Zooming. That some are older and they don't want to go there. And I'm actually surprised that, so they're not going anywhere, but then there's like my age group, which is old too, but not older. And some of them just refuse to do the Zoom, as was stated earlier. But one of the things I noted, and so they've gone on to other clubs. One of the things I realized, I think it was after the second Zoom meeting we had way back when, I saw it as a great opportunity to recruit members from anywhere in our country, whether it's a friend from Wisconsin or, anywhere. And so it's similar to the E-Club in that respect, but they can just Zoom on and be a part of our club, so.
Okay, we have a little more time. I'm going to take a poll at 10:55 to see what you want to talk about next month. And we might have to revisit hybrid meetings again later on give you a few months to play with some of these concepts, and then we'll have even more questions. So we'll come back together and maybe get Corey back and go, yeah, but what about this little problem? So any other questions, comments, answers?
Well, our club has actually gotten quite a few new members who have, it's all Zoom. They've never been to a live meeting. And it's just kind of interesting. We've gotten quite a few new members, and we've gotten a lot of new women members, because the club is, it's a venerable old club, 100-year-old, all that, and it's mostly men. So we're only 24%. And so, we're trying to get that up to the 50-50, which I was working with the Florence Club not long ago, and they said 50-50. I went, good for you. So, that's another whole issue that, we need to work on.
One of the polling topics you can vote on here in a minute is recruiting, virtual recruiting. So that is something to think outside the box, something we never tried before this new normal. It wasn't anything that was even on our radar.
People have liked it. They've come to the meetings, a couple meetings, and so I really like this group, and they just go through the whole process, and then it just all happens right there, and then everybody's watching it. Everybody's got a comment about it, and so I think they feel even more connected than if they were at a live meeting. Except we miss the Hilton food.
And the hugs.
I don't miss the food.
And the hugs. I know we don't miss the food, but people have, really done the best they could to hug each other. We just had a death, and, now we're working out how we're going to work with that, and it's working out just fine. We're getting a whole new thing with the family of Rotary to do this virtually.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go ahead and start the poll. I see some people are starting to fade out, and they've heard what they want to hear, and they're going to be excited about the upcoming meetings and getting Corey's information. Thank you so much, Corey, for coming and presenting to us. That was an awesome, awesome presentation. I feel like my brain was going to explode because there was so much information. But herein again is where the video that I'll be sending out, you can watch it again and take notes a little bit more and dissect the information Corey will be sending us. So that's going to be great. But I'm going to go ahead and start this poll for what do you want to talk about next month, and use your, you should have you have the poll, right? Can you see it? I guess I got a nod or two out of you.
Can we put multiple answers?
You can put multiple answers. Anything. We're gonna do, the top one is always on the hit list for next month, and then we go from there. Oh, we're getting some. Oh, recruiting virtually came in. Ooh. And then I'll show you the answers so you can see how your votes stacked up. If you ever get into doing polling at with your Zoom meetings, you guys, this is really fun to watch the answers come in, and how the, sort of like watching the Electoral College, everything shifts at every minute.
It has to be more fun than that, Christine.
It's more fun. This is all good stuff. There are no bad answers. I'm going to give you till another minute, and then we're going to close that poll and display the answer, and then I'm going to let Corey wrap up with parting comments. Parting comments from the party man. Is that too trite, Corey?
It's it's Parliament Productions, but
oh man,
I get that from a lot of people, so that's okay.
I bet you do. I'm not surprised that I would say something silly like that.
That's okay. It looks like staying in touch with members and recruiting virtually, though, are the top two interests.
Yeah, very important. Okay, 10 more seconds. Push enter. I gotta take a picture of this so I remember what we said. Okay. And share the results. Staying in touch. Nice cat, RT. I assume that's what that is. Okay. Corey, do you have any parting words of wisdom that
Parting words of wisdom. You know, the Zone 2627 website has lots of great resources on it. We're adding to the blog all of the time, and we're trying to curate. You know, there's lots of stuff going on all across North America, and lots of great ideas that aren't all coming from our zone. And so we're trying to pick and choose whenever, you know, wherever we can to grab the knowledge and share it out. So. It's an active, constantly changing site. I'd say go there for anything. And then, you know, you're always welcome to reach out. District 5110 is one of the districts that I support as an ARC, and I'm happy to do it. And, you know, somewhere down the road, maybe I'll be able to get back to Oregon again, where I grew up. And who knows if we'll see you in person or on a hybrid meeting. But thank you for allowing me to be here today.
And thank you again, Corey. That was really a fabulous program. And you will be sending me your slideshow as well as the handouts.
Yep, everything as soon as I log off here.
Okay. Our next meeting is 10 o'clock in the morning on December 15th. And it's the same link. So if you want to go ahead and put it on your calendar now, you know what we're going to be talking about is reaching out and engaging our meeting or members, or what was it that I said? I can't remember. Whatever it was.
Staying in touch.
Yeah, staying in touch. And then after that, looks like we're going to have recruiting virtually, which there are some really cool ideas I've seen about that. So there's no reason that we have to be losing members. There are members all over the world in small communities that could be joining your club if you're virtual. So pretty exciting. I'm going to sign off, you guys. Thanks again.
I have one last thing.
Oh.
One last thing. On December 4th, 6 p.m., the club is doing artsparkeugene.org, and it's going to be a virtual. It's going to be a virtual fundraiser for ArtSpark, which funds arts education in the schools, and that'll be our first experiment of, you know, doing a gala and auction online.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you all for coming, and we'll see you next month, right before the holidays. Woo! That's sneaking up, huh? Take care.